Hey guys, Jonathan Reich here. Today we're going to be talking about some Wave accounting software alternatives. So if you're watching this, you've probably outgrown Wave. For those of you who don't know, Wave is a freemium accounting service, and I like to talk about it a lot because it is free. There's not a lot of things that you can get now for free, but a lot of times those free things are limited and maybe they don't meet your needs anymore. Maybe you were just somebody who wanted to try their luck and get your toes wet and see if this whole business thing was for you. And turns out you're really good at it. You were super successful. And now you're saying, oh dear, I've outgrown the accounting software that I've started with. So as a CPA, I've tried a ton of accounting softwares. And I want to walk through some of the ones that I've tried to save you the headache and save you the time so you don't have to try them all. No need to thank me. So we're going to explore some of my top 5 alternatives to Wave. What typically draws people into Wave is one, it's free. Two, it's got a super user intuitive dashboard with the ribbon over here, your current insights, invoices, expenses, reconciliations, reporting, stuff like that. It's just super easy to surf and navigate. The other thing is if you want to pay a little bit more than the freemium, you can, and you can scale, and you can only do that to a certain extent before it becomes cumbersome. So that's probably why you're checking this article and video out, because you've outgrown the platform. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the alternatives out there. So the first one I want to talk about is Puzzle. Puzzle is the new kid on the block. I really like puzzles. I was just introduced to it recently, and as soon as I was introduced, I was really just blown away. So I'm going to try and keep it brief, but one of the things that I really enjoy about Puzzle and why it's a good Wave alternative is it does have a free service. So if you're still interested in that free service, you can check Puzzle out. Some of the key features are one, the super intuitive user dashboard. There's tons of reporting right when you log into the platform. It's available immediately. You can edit these to showcase what you as a business owner needs in order to successfully run your business. Some of the other things that I, from a CPA and technical accounting standpoint, I really enjoy the customability of the platform. So there are things that you can do within Puzzle that you can't do within Wave, that you can't do within QuickBooks, that you can't do within Xero or some of the other guys that we're going to be talking about today. And an example of that would be a good inventory management software to where you're not having to use spreadsheets to track inventory or to track shrinkage. Fixed asset calculations are a breeze. It's available within the ribbon. Once again, that's a pretty technical accounting thing, but you can set a useful life for your asset, whether it be 5 years for a computer, 7 years for a piece of furniture, 30 years for a commercial building. Put the value of it in, put out the useful life of it, and how much you want to depreciate it every year. Boom, set it and forget it. It's really refreshing as opposed to the spreadsheets that I have to run in QuickBooks or those convoluted journal entries I have to make at year end. Other stuff that Puzzle lets you do is it allows you to access contra GL accounts. That's something very technical that I've not seen in any other accounting platform. So Puzzle really is geared towards people who are a little bit more savvy, maybe a small to, or growing mid-sized business. That's going to be the bread and butter of who Puzzle is for. But one of the most important things that I haven't even talked about yet, because I've been talking about everything else that Puzzle offers, is it's super powerful AI under the hood. So you can see here just on this dashboard, it's going to give you an AI recommendation. The AI really does an excellent job of predicting on where an expense may need to be or when it's time to send an invoice to a client. It also has recommendations, can help detect fraud. It's really a powerful tool that can save you a lot of time. And that's one of the key draws to Puzzle. Pricing, it is free to start, and it does get a little pricey from there to about $50 a month, $100 a month. Or if you're an enterprise, you can scale and go up to $300 plus per month. I feel that most people are going to end up sitting around that $50 per month unless you really do have a team of people working for you, but you're going to end up paying that for most softwares anyway. My personal accounting software costs $40 a month, and it's just me. So with Puzzle, you're going to get access to a lot more. It's going to save you time. Really have been impressed with this new kid on the block, so to say. The next guy we're going to talk about is, of course, Intuit's QuickBooks. QuickBooks is ubiquitous. Everybody's heard of QuickBooks. There's a reason. QuickBooks simply works. It doesn't back down from any challenge, I guess you could say. You can be in almost any business, and QuickBooks will be able to handle your accounting, whether it be plug and play or you'll have to do some creative accounting with spreadsheets and then plug in QuickBooks. It can do it. And so that's one of the big draws of QuickBooks is every accountant's heard of it. It's ready to go right out of the box for just about every business. And that's what makes it attractive. That's why it's as ubiquitous as it is. Some of the drawbacks of QuickBooks, of course, are the reporting might be a little confusing for someone coming from Wave. There's some reports. I mean, there are just tons and tons of reports, and oftentimes QuickBooks doesn't do a great job of walking you through what each report is, what it's trying to tell you, what it's showcasing. So that can be a drawback. Another drawback is the price. QuickBooks starts at about $30 a month, and then it just goes up. I have some clients that are paying $500 or $600 per month for QuickBooks because they're running payroll through it, they're running bill pay through it, they're doing project accounting. It gets pricey quick, and that's okay because it's an okay platform. I've used QuickBooks for a number of years. When working for clients, it just works for them, and that is one of the largest draws to it. Some of the other draws to QuickBooks are that it easily and intuitively links to your bank accounts, making bank reconciliations a breeze. It does a really good job of displaying open invoices that you've sent, invoices you have to pay, and tracking those payments. It also, I begrudgingly admit, it does an okay job of managing sales tax. And so if you're going to be subject to sales tax and you need to collect sales tax and you need to pay sales tax and you need to do this for 3, 4, 5, 6 different counties, or maybe you're shipping across the country, or maybe you're shipping to different places within your state, QuickBooks does an okay job with that, and it can help hold your hand and make sure that you don't accidentally make any mistakes. Part of the pros and cons I mentioned earlier is that detailed reporting. Yes, it can be overwhelming if you're coming from Wave, but if you get familiar with it, you put the time into learning it, it can be a really, really powerful tool that you can just use to drive your business and see how it's performing. But one of the drawbacks related to that is if you aren't using QuickBooks to its full potential, i.e., you're not paying the most amount of money possible that Intuit wants you to pay, some features might be locked behind paywalls. So overall, QuickBooks is a very good platform. It has a lot of use cases, but there are other options out there leading into FreshBooks. All right, so FreshBooks is not as ubiquitous as QuickBooks, but it has been around for a long time. And part of the draw of FreshBooks is it's very similar to Wave in its setup. It's very intuitive. It's very user-friendly. It does a really, really good job of tracking time for projects or for employees. And so that's what I would say FreshBooks is like niche market is if you're a business professional, you bill by the hour, like you're a wedding photographer or you're like a CPA or a lawyer, FreshBooks would probably be a good fit for you because you can easily track time and hours to whatever you're invoicing for. It does a decent job of doing the punch list items that you would expect from an accounting software, such as recurring invoices. It's going to be able to track your expenses. It's going to be able to help you generate some basic financial statements like a P&L or balance sheet. And then it also integrates with a ton of other third-party platforms like Plaid, allowing you to connect your bank account. It's also going to connect with Stripe, Square, other point-of-sale services. And that's going to let you get a more granular data within those reports that you're trying to pull. Some of the limitations of FreshBooks: you can't do the technical accounting things that I kind of talked about on Puzzle, for example, like double entry accounting just doesn't exist within FreshBooks. You can do that in QuickBooks via journal entry, but don't expect it within FreshBooks. It's also not as suitable for product-based businesses. So if you have a diverse inventory that you're selling, probably want to stick with QuickBooks or maybe give Puzzle a whirl. But if you're coming from Wave, that's probably not going to be an issue. And then it can get a little pricey as soon as you want to start adding some team members. Let's say your business is doing well, you could end up paying $65 to $100 to $100+ per month. And so that does become burdensome pretty quickly. Our next wave alternative is one of the ones that I like to say is situated somewhere between FreshBooks and QuickBooks. That is Xero. So Xero is, the reason I say it's situated between the two is it's not as complex as QuickBooks. It's a little bit easier to serve. The reports are kind of explained a little bit better. It's basically the accounting platform for people who don't want to be accountants, for people who aren't CPAs. But it's still a little bit more complex and can get a little bit more done than FreshBooks. Some of the key benefits of Xero are you can link bank feeds to the platform, so you can set rules and automatically categorize bank transactions, meaning that your P&L can be quickly updated from day to day, week to week, giving you almost real-time access to reports, not as quickly as what you could do for Puzzle, not as AI-driven as Puzzle, but you can still relatively easily surf your expenses, surf your income, and build out your reports. Other stuff is you are allowed unlimited users on some of the higher tier plans. So if your business is growing, you say, I need 3 or 4 bookkeepers now. I have that many transactions coming in, running payroll, paying sales tax, sending out invoices, collecting invoices, categorizing expenses. It starts quickly. And so if you need a couple team members, Xero is going to let you onboard them. The other thing is I haven't talked about on any of their other accounting platforms, but Xero does allow you to run payroll. So if you need to run payroll within your accounting system and you're not interested in using ADP or Paychex or a third-party payroll provider, Xero has that functionality. QuickBooks has that functionality. Wave does not. FreshBooks does not. The final thing that kind of is the reason I say Xero positions itself between FreshBooks and QuickBooks is Xero, unlike FreshBooks, does allow inventory management and fixed asset tracking. So if you are selling things, using a point of sale to track those sales, you can load that into Xero. I would still argue QuickBooks does a better job of that, but neither really impress me with their ability to manage it like Puzzle does, but it is an option. Some of the drawbacks to Xero is it does have a slightly steeper learning curve. It's going to be like QuickBooks. It's not as simple as Wave. It's not as simple as FreshBooks, and it can be overwhelming for someone who isn't in the numbers every day. It can get pricey over time as you need to add features, as you need to add users. That price does stack up. I don't know if you can just, that's a recurring theme with all these accounting software platforms. And then if you are running payroll and you are not US based, it could get a little tricky because payroll is not supported in all regions. Okay, so the final guy that we have to talk about today is Zoho. Zoho doesn't get mentioned as much, but I wanted to make sure that it did make the list. And the reason I wanted to make sure it made the list was because Zoho does offer a free version if your revenue is less than $50,000 a year. And then the other thing is Zoho, if you are already running any of the Zoho softwares for CRM, ERP, tax planning, inventory planning, it all integrates together. And you can plug your accounting software to basically kind of make a pseudo ERP. If you're running like a mid-sized business, let's say $30 to $50 million a year, Zoho really can become a powerful tool because everything's at your fingertips. It's all in one place. Some of the other key draws to Zoho are there are client portals. You can create a client portal if you need them to upload documents, send invoices, pay bills, things like that. You are able to track projects in time. That's something a couple of the platforms haven't done, and that's a big deal if like you're in the construction industry, for example. If you're in the construction industry, you may struggle to do your project accounting according to GAAP, and Zoho will allow you to do that. It does manage inventory, and it does a better job than Xero and QuickBooks, in my opinion. And then you can use client communication and vendor communication tools, once again, if you're already within that Zoho ecosystem. So some of the limitations of this platform, though, unfortunately, are it doesn't offer as many integrations. It doesn't offer as many third-party API connections. It's not as widely used by folks here in the US. It's probably an accounting platform that is a little bit more attractive abroad. And then if you're going to use some of these advanced features, you're going to expect to pay more. I keep mentioning that. It's like it's It's like they want more money for more services. Funny how that works. So now that I've ran through my top wave alternatives, my opinion is you need to ask yourself what type of business you're running. Are you running a recurring revenue business, software as a sales? You're probably going to want to check out Puzzle. Are you a traditional brick and mortar? Run to QuickBooks. QuickBooks is going to serve you well for that. Are you just kind of solo checking things out? Go to FreshBooks. If you're somewhere in between, check out Xero. If you're a mid-sized business that really wants to be hands-on and doesn't want that AI-driven power of Puzzle, check out Zoho. So there are tons of options out there. Now that you've kind of seen what all they do, what they all have to offer, I hope you can now make an informed decision on what your small business needs.